William, hopefully your favorite videographer from Two Hats Publishing. I welcome you to another Two Hats special of community events. Let's look in and see what's really happening.
I was born in Vietnam, came here when I was 3, back in '93. And the poem that I'm about to read to you guys, it's called 68 Degrees. And it's basically my time from Vietnam to the Philippines and then coming to America, basically, as a refugee. So it's called 68 Degrees. Spark a light and my lungs feel tight. But the smell of smoke reminds me of lush evergreens and relaxing on hammocks tied between 2 trees near a forest of growing seeds, 68 degrees with an easy ocean breeze while the sun sets with pleasantry. I remember a time when I was growing up in the Philippines as a Vietnamese refugee, left the motherland, hands holding hands, then hands folded, trying to understand what the future had in plan. Chosen by fate, our families of mixed race, stained by war, disowned, misplaced, dishonor and disgrace, hate written on our face, stamped, labeled, and we were sent to the States. But lo and behold, one step was untold. My story starts to unfold, trapped in a pond like tadpoles we were placed in an internment camp. The hand dealt to us was cold and damp, a place I fear even to this day. I was never Christian or Catholic, but to him I prayed for better ways. We had to go from open space to closed gates. Every day for food and line we wait. At night, we slept in tight space where bunk beds and bed sheets were used as drapes, divided up the space. And because we lived in such tight space, local words became shifty and twisty. Mixed children were looked at plenty, our minds, young, innocent, and empty, to realize bold eyes and sweet lives wanted to fuck us gently. Please protect me and don't forget me. Help me be free and be at ease. The smell of Mother Nature, mixed tobacco with rolling paper, smoked blown by the elders, brings me back to the evergreens and the force of growing seeds, while the sun rise with majesty was always 68 degrees. Thank you.
Lee fan, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, Bruce. This right here is a perfect example of the type of talent that we have here in Dallas and that we try to represent down at the basement. I don't know if a lot of y'all may not know, but the basement was like shut down about 8 months ago. We were shut down for 6 months. The city shut us down. We fought through pretty much starting from scratch to open the place back up. We're now open, and I just want to say that with people, artists like Lee Fam and artists like Raymond Butler and everybody here and all the people that are showing here today is what helped us get from being shut down to where we're at today. I just want to say thank you to everybody who is here today. Thank you to all the artists that have grown the gallery for the past 5 years that we've been there and making it what it is. If y'all can in any way come down to the gallery, y'all support, continue to support the things that we fight hard for example, this here today. And I just want y'all to know that regardless of what happens and regardless of all the trials and tribulations that we might go through there, I'll never give up and I'll never stop, doing what it takes for us to continue to succeed there. And we're going to continue to do shows like this here at outside locations, because even though we're open now, we're still not allowed to do any types of art openings or art exhibitions that we were known for in the past. Hopefully in the future with, maybe some rezoning, lots of money, that's what it comes down to. We'll be able to do stuff like that again, but for right now, we're going to continue to do things like this here. And we're here in the second going to get started with, you want to start in that room over there?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to start in that room over there, and we're going to kind of go through 2 artists that are in that room. They're going to speak about their work, and then we're going to move to this room, and we have 3 artists in this room that are going to speak about their work. You don't have to be in the room if y'all want to come over here and look around or whatever, but please try to take the time and figure out or realize or learn what these artists want to say with their art. I feel like this is the most important part of being an artist, because not everybody understands when they look at a piece what exactly you want to, talk about, or what you're trying to translate whatever your idea is or whatever. So please try to take the time to listen to these artists and take their feelings and ideas into consideration whenever you're looking at the piece.
I just wanted to say about the show itself, the exhibition, There Goes the Neighborhood, is pretty much based off of what the Basement Gallery, the exhibitions that we used to show over there. A lot of it was based off of street culture, like graffiti, urban, everything or whatever. And then they tried to dabble a little bit into fine art as well. So this is a show that was tried to embody all of that and bring it into a new space. So we tried to do our best to kind of resemble what you would experience at the Basement Gallery here at the Latino Culture Center. So that's pretty much the plan. So I think we kind of achieved that. And yeah, let's get started.
So if we'll start in this room, and we'll start with my man Fluffy. Fluffy, aka his real name is Robert, and we're going to talk about his pieces. His have a lot of political mixed with comic book covers. So this is Robert Garza. He's the manager at the Basement Gallery. He helps me do a lot of stuff there. I couldn't do half the things I'm able to do without him. But give it up for him. Let's listen to what he has to say about his work. If you kind of just want to go down the line from left to right, that'd be great.
Hey everybody, hope everybody's doing well tonight. Hope you're enjoying the show. Like you said, my name is Fluffy, but I can also go by Robert. I was born and raised here in Dallas. I'm a Dallas person, I'm a Texas person. But I've always been a nerd, I've always been a geek. I grew up on comic books, X-Men, Superman, Batman, all that kind of stuff. So a big part of me ever since I was young was always trying to emulate that, to try to be a part of the comic book industry in some way. So the idea I had behind the pieces I came up with was basically to turn news, pop culture headlines into comic book stories, basically. You would see these as stories on the news, you can kind of relate them as characters in a story arc. So that's pretty much what the idea was starting off. So I just took various headlines, the election, Colin Kaepernick, I'm not sure if anyone knows Leslie Jones from Saturday Night Live, Simone Biles and Ronda Rousey. And I kind of recreated classic comic book covers in just the style, just to create the style of comic book, just to kind of get my love back to it. So they're, for the most part, they're obvious. The first one's the election, Donald Trump, Hillary. We know how that turned out, unfortunately. I just kind of wanted to express kind of the turmoil that's going on with what happened during the election. Just it seemed like a lot of mudslinging, a lot of no real winner on either side kind of thing. So if anybody's familiar with Civil War, the Captain America movie that came out this year, kind of is about the same thing. Next is the Colin Kaepernick controversy, the kneeling during the national anthem, his right to protest. I felt like he has a total right to do what he wants to do as an American. He can protest freely. So in a certain way, I'd say he's an American hero, just like the Spider-Man cover that he's based on. Leslie Jones she's a Saturday Night Live comedian. She appeared in Ghostbusters this year. She got a lot of heat on Twitter. A lot of racist, sexist remarks were made towards her, and she basically ended up taking down her Twitter account just because of how much hate she got. But she also overcame it. She kind of trumped the haters, and she just kept doing what she does best, making people laugh, making people love what she does. So I kind of felt like she was empowering, and I just kind of wanted to show her a little love too. The Olympics were also this year. We had possibly the greatest gymnast in history, Simone Biles. And I just was really, really amazed by how skillful she was, how young she is, and how much attention she got so quickly. They brought up a lot of her family troubles, a lot of her history, just to kind of make her a sensation. I just felt really bad for her. Also, she's a hero in her own right. Just, being who she is, just kind of making sure that everybody could look up to her, making sure she made America proud, and she did. She kicked all kinds of ass that year, well, this year. And lastly, Ronda Rousey's fight that she unfortunately lost. She was the unbeatable champion that took a hit and she took the fall and she lost. She proved that sometimes gods do fall. I don't know. I love Ronda Rousey. She's just one of my favorite athletes, and she just I felt like she needed to take the hit. A lot of people will agree, so that she can know she can fail and she'll be afraid to fail. But this is just kind of highlighting the heat of the battle, just the anticipation of the fight that's to come, and that's pretty much where I was going with that. And that's it.
What made you pick those I guess highlights in 2016 to be your pieces versus any other things that happened in 2016?
Well, around the time I started doing there were certain highlights that I felt really personal about, and I kind of just went with the ones that had the biggest effect on me, and I kind of took comic book covers that I personally really liked and just saw how I could kind of blend them together.
Which comic book covers?
That is Civil War, obviously. There's the comic book story arc also. Amazing Fantasy for Spider-Man first show. Blackest Night is a Green Lantern story that this is based on. Flashpoint with the Flash, and The Incredible Hulk where the Wolverine first showed up. My favorite, personally, Leslie Jones. I just love her that much.
Could you explain a little bit about the process, or how you created
The whole process is done in Photoshop. I've been teaching myself, learning a lot about digital illustration. So basically, from top to bottom, it starts in Photoshop as a sketch, as a placement, and I just finish out with the finished work, basically.
It looks good.
Thank you.
Good job. If I get your attention over here, well, you're okay. We go ahead. Make it happen.
Start.
Yeah.
This
is Keith
Hey
Brown.
everybody, I'm Keith. This is my piece. I made these engraving situations. They're desk surfaces that are engraved and then clear coated. It's a pretty simple process.
So these are actual desks.
Yeah, that's the desk.
Like, so you took the legs off the desk?
Those are it's like the side panels, and then that's the top. So like, I guess conceptually they deal with like human connectedness and like idea sharing, idea replication, kind of thing. So I mean, it's kind of interesting that Robert was just talking about what he was talking about, because this is kind of what I'm talking about. Like, you kind of get an idea, like if Leslie Jones is unfairly targeted or whatever, and then like it becomes like this thing where like it eventually becomes like, oh my god, she was targeted, but it's like I don't know if it was really that bad. I think it just like kind of got like there was this like this reinforcing like, oh my god, this thing happened, and there's no like outside influence to curb this like idea that gets out of control and it's here. So it also has to do with like kind of some free speech things that are going on. Jordan Peterson has struggled. If you're not familiar. I made this work a little bit before that, but it was kind of the fear of those kinds of things happening, and now they happen.
Alright, you have a piece too?
Same thing, yeah. This one is called Cathedral Spires, which is about the same kinds of ideas, but kind of more related to faith versus, I don't know, social media. I work better in a Q&A format, I think.
Okay, questions for Keith.
I don't know if you said, but what was your inspiration for that piece right there?
This one?
Yeah.
The whole like idea sharing. Yeah, or not even like idea sharing, but just like this like, I've got this idea, and then you like share it with another person, and they tell 2 people, and then it becomes 4 people. So that's like kind of a familiar idea. But then the idea of like that being like just completely false information that spreads until it becomes a fact, and then it's like an indisputable fact that can't even be questioned. You know, it's fairly fascist, I guess, in nature, but that's the idea.
Which one took longer?
Probably that one, just because it's more actual work. But I think that one because it was what got the ball rolling.
What do you use for our hand?
Direct one scribe. It's just like a needle with a fork on it.
How long did it take you to finish this one?
That was like a semester.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was like 3 months of like just, a couple hours, twice a week, yeah.
I have another question. So why not 4-piece instead of 3-piece or 2-piece?
That's how many pieces came. And then also like the art historical, like the triptych thing, in terms of like altar pieces and stuff. So that just seemed natural. It wasn't even a question.
What made you choose the desk as your surface instead of like just a regular piece of wood?
I had them, well, 2. Okay, so I had them already. For one thing, I needed to get rid of them. And I live in an apartment, so I don't have like bulky trash. So I needed to like get rid of them, and this is a good way to do that. And then 2, wood doesn't have this like laminate on it. So I needed to scratch through the laminate to like the particle board underneath, and that's what gives it that sweet scratch board contrast. Also, Ghostbusters was terrible.
Angeline, do you want to talk about it? Yeah. Alright, we got Angeline Pineda, my bad. He did these 2 pieces, and then he's spilling stuff like party.
Sorry.
These 2 pieces and the skate deck down here. Angeline is an artist, and he's a custom lowrider painter. So he's been in Lowrider magazine. He's done all kinds of stuff, man. So Angeline.
Okay, my name is Antolin.
There you go.
Last name Pineda.
Hey, my bad.
I'm also known as Ghost. I'm basically known as an airbrush artist, pretty much. Sorry, I don't speak well in public. But that's what I mainly try to concentrate my work that I brought here. But I pretty much paint on anything with anything. My main job is I paint life-size animatronic dinosaurs for a living. But before that, I was a full-time, airbrush artist. But I do a little bit of watercolor, sketching, acrylic. We also do body painting. So this work is mainly focused on like the lowrider type of artwork. Since that's what's mainly what I'm known for. But this piece is I love pinup work. This type of work that I really love. And this piece I made London Clowning because I use London Andrews as a model.
Who's London Andrews?
She's like a really famous model on Instagram. Y'all can look it up. I don't want to get into details, but did the classic, clown, lowrider type of style to her. And this one's a portrait of Margarita, my wife with it. And I added her favorite flower, which is like the bird of paradise, and some waves. And I love doing lace on anything. So I added some lace to her, and wanted to have some contrast on her. So I used a red background, and I did her as black and white, and added a little bit of color. This one's actually on sheet metal, canvas, and a samurai piece. That one took me about a year and a half to finish. For some reason, I just work on it, leave it, and then just work it a little bit more, and eventually I got it finished.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I was going to ask. So, the paint you're using, is this the same paint as what you use to airbrush on cars?
Yes. I love working with automotive urethanes because they flow so much smoother through the airbrush. They're pretty much all in urethane paints. I have a skateboard that's at the end, hard surface, and I have canvas and sheet metal. It's pretty much the same paint used to paint cars. Yeah, I use anywhere from base coats to candies to pearls, even some acrylic too. Yeah, so I can do a Q&A.
Yeah.
Yes.
What made you choose those colors on the Simrock piece versus the other piece you have? Because it seems like the other pieces are a little less colorful than that one. They're great and all, but yeah.
That one in particular, I wanted to try out like Japanese type of art. I kind of blended in with some tattoo style. So it has the black outlines and the fades in there, and I added a little bit of gold leafing on that one too. It's got 24 karat gold leafing on the headdress. So so I wanted to do that. So
It's a great piece.
yeah, thank you. It's everybody's favorite.
What are some of your major successes as a lowrider car?
As a painter and so airbrush artist, my work's been featured in Lowrider magazine a couple of times. I did murals on a car that we competed for, that I helped build or paint, that competed for Lowrider Year in 2013.
As worldwide?
Yes, that's like the best car in the country or the world.
Right, number one in the world, yeah.
Yeah.
And to me.
So, So, and then from there, I just started getting more work as far as lowriders and custom cars. So, I have very few pieces that I can show because most of the stuff is on cars. It's like rolling around out there. So this is the very few stuff that you'll see from me, physically here. So.
Do you feel like there's a difference, like in canvas and in car parts?
Canvas?
Do you feel like there's a difference?
No, not really. Not to me. I've been painting for so long. It's just like handwriting. It's like, if you can write on paper, you can write on walls, write on glass. It's just like, it's not that much different. The difference is what style I want to do, according to the job. So sometimes I'll paint like a mural on the Donk. Everybody knows what a Donk is. Car with big rims. That's a different style than a lowrider.
Right.
This is more like a lowrider. What we do on a lowrider. So it's just style wise, it's difference.
Do you think there's a do you feel like there's a difference in lowrider art and fine art?
Yes. As far as airbrushing, to me, that's like my moneymaker. Now, to me, my type of like fine art, the type of art that I put my heart and soul into would be something like the samurai piece. It's the techniques that I'm used to, but I put a lot of work and like time and heart into that. Now, as far as like cars, that's like kind of like commission work. It's more like not really fine art to me. It's more like my moneymaker.
Yeah, it's your job.
It's just like pay bills type of stuff.
which piece was the most tedious and longest to finish, or longest to complete, I guess?
The longest to complete.
Like, I guess the most hardest for you to do.
The hardest for me to do, that's here.
Yeah, out of the
out of
pieces
all
that you
these.
did.
Probably the hardest. It's gonna be that samurai, because I took a lot of thought for me to like layer all those colors without making it look muddy.
Ah, okay.
So the other pieces were pretty simple, monotone. Now there's another piece in the other room of a jellyfish. That one took me about maybe like 3 years to complete. Yeah, but it's just kind of like thing where I work on it, leave it, a couple months and work on it some more. And I actually finished it the night before we had to set up here.
Yeah.
I needed more work to bring, so I was like, okay, I need to get this finished. I finally finished it. So motivation. Yeah, that's good motivation.
Where do you start?
Where do I start? As far as like a painting, I try to think of things that I haven't painted before, and I try not to replicate paintings, even of cars. When I do a certain portrait or a certain design, I try to come up with a whole new concept. For example, like this simple black and white portrait. The way I did it, I've done it before on other portraits, but the angle and the pose and the makeup I've probably never done before. So I try to, begin with something different every time, even though it kind of looks the same. So, any other questions?
Engineer? So you got to perform.
You did great. That's because you do not like to talk in front of people at all. Yeah, no one goes to the next gallery.
Feel free to get some drink, pizza, like whatever.
Good, how are you? Good to see you.
Third time's the charm, though.
Third time's the charm?
Because the first two times I was standing here talking about this piece, I don't think went so well.
We're gonna start with our second Asian person in the show. It's Asian Mike. He got Asian in his first name. His last name is Mike. Yeah. Asian Mike, everybody. Michael Houlihan.
What's good? My name is Asian Mike. I'm a freelance art director and a graphic designer by trade. So any work that I do is very heavily like graphic, very like image based. I'm from kind of like all over. Like I'm from the north and the southeast. Just came from the west coast, and now I fell in love with the community over here in Oak Cliff and in Deep Ellum. I made this piece called The Absence of Heat. It's all these different things that I feel like visually depict anger, dismay, and like the whole cycle that we go into through this madness that we want to keep projecting ourselves through. When you kind of like look at it, it feels like it follows you around the room because of like how concentric it is. And about all the vibrations out of the smaller details, from like the arrows going up to bullets, going up to knives, going up to what a feeling is. A lot of the stuff that I do, I like to do a lot of research about myself, research about the subject that I'm making the piece for, so it all can communicate and resonate with everybody. So this piece was made for There Goes the Neighborhood, to show the dismay, to show the constant movement of anger and frustration, and then the beauty that can come out of it. Anybody have any questions? Yes, sir.
Why black and white and not color?
Oh, funny, man, people call me the hipster Lisa Franks too. All my other work is super colorful. But sometimes I design everything first. When I'm working on brands, when I'm working on something that's going to be iconic, or I'm sitting and doodling on pencil and paper, it's always black and white. And I think it's the strongest to resonate. And I also think that it adds some sort of motion and reverb that the viewer gets, and it's helped and enhanced by the starkness of black and white.
Is the eye in the middle of the all-seeing gallery?
Oh, so the eye in the middle is something that I call Kings Never Sleep. It was different type of brand of products I did, and it was something that me and somebody else was working on the East Coast. Well, I was living on the West Coast, and to think of the concept that we were continuously working on it, that's why Kings Never Sleep. Any other questions? Comments, concerns?
Alright. Asian money. I guess I'm going next. Alright. So I'm Randy Butler. I'm an artist and a curator here in Dallas, Texas. I do lots of things. They call me man of many hats. I just call myself that. I just hope y'all pick that up. You know, man of many hats. You can call me that. So these are my two pieces. I guess these two pieces I came up with particularly for this show, and now it's turned into a larger project because the title of the show is called There Goes the Neighborhood. So I was like, let's make a small neighborhood. That'd be cool. Like, why not? But the kind of cartoon face, I'm really interested in like my childhood, and like I'm really nostalgic. So I love cartoons, and like I'm a big kid at heart anyway. So if you know me, you already know that I joke around, I play a lot, and a lot of my work is like really playful. And I chose the grayscale to kind of like to kind of represent that old school cartoon style, the 1920s, like Mickey and the Tugboat. Yeah, I really like that, and I figured I'd stick to that grayscale, but I try to make take that 2D image and turn it into like a 3D thing. Like I used to love that cartoon. It's called A Little House on a Little Hill. You can look it up on YouTube, and it's like this little house with faces on it, and then in the story, like a city comes up, starts to sprout up in this little country town, and the little house just kind of gets overshadowed by all the other like buildings and stuff like that. And I kind of reference that in these pieces. They're a 2-piece from a 15-piece set that I'm working on now for a solo show called Smallville. The titles too are also nostalgic to me. This one's called House Party, and the other one's called The Roof. The roof is on fire. Y'all know. We don't need no water. Let that motherfucker burn. So yeah, so it's all, and like I said, like titles are funny, the pieces are funny looking. Like I really dig them, and I just tried to keep that grayscale thing with the grass and the trees. Of course, I didn't make the grass and the trees. I just found some models and I spray painted them gray. The shit actually worked out better than I thought it would. Yeah. But everything else is made of wood, polymer clay, and Carbono. Like, believe it or not, that was Daniel's idea, because I was trying to make them to look seamless. And he was like, man, just take a finger of Carbono, wipe around there, sand it all down, and it worked out. Like, I thought it was dope. And it's just interesting to know that, like, something that's used for a car, I can actually use for a sculpture. That's pretty awesome. So yeah, do you have any questions? What's your question?
I have a lot of questions.
Yes.
How long did it take you to do both houses?
Yo, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Dang, 2 weeks. I know.
This man is so speedy.
Yeah, I work in wood and clay a lot anyway. Like I make small little realistic food jewelry out of polymer clay, and I make these little wooden sandwiches that they also have these kind of old school cartoon faces. They're called Sammys. So they're like little half-eaten sandwiches with faces, and they're usually like all like kind of bugged out of their minds because they're being eaten. And I kind of came back to that with these two pieces.
Why is nostalgia so important to you? Like all your work?
I guess growing up, like, I guess I was like that Peter Pan and the Lost Boys things. Like, I don't ever want to grow up. I always want to be a kid. Like, I've noticed as I get older, people, I'm 29, but people my age look like they're in their 40s and 50s and 60s because I feel like some people take life way too seriously. They forget how to have fun. They forget how to have a good time. Everything has to be on a time schedule. Not me. I'm late. I'm late to work every day, y'all. Like, but I do my job. I get shit done, and I still have fun while doing it. And I feel like a lot of people go into careers that they don't necessarily want to be in. They go into things that they have to do because they have to make money and they got to take care of business. Whereas me, I do things like art and I curate shows because I want to do this. This makes me feel happy, and I think being happy is way more important. And it is way more important for you to be for your health and to be youthful because you feel more energized when you're happy. You feel more like alive when you're happy. When you're always like tied down to obligations and things like that. Not to say that obligations aren't important. That shit is super important. I'm not saying don't take care of business, because you gotta take care of business. But when you take care of business, be sure to have fun too. Be sure to live and live life. And I feel like that's what youth is. With being young, you don't have all that stuff. Mom and daddy takes care of everything for you. They support you. They back you up. You got family. So basically, all you gotta do is be a kid. Run around, do your damn thing, play with toys, hang around with your friends. I still do that shit today. Like, I'm technically now I make toys, and I hang around with my friends still too. And I just feel like that's super important. So for me to not lose my childhood, I like to visit that in my work. And I laugh, I giggle, I make faces while I'm making these things just to really capture the feel. So that's why nostalgia is super important to me. And it should be super important to y'all too. Like, don't lose that. Like, be a kid forever, take care of business, and go have fun. Last but not least, we got Daniel Yanez, owner of the Basement Gallery, curator of the show. Co-curator, I curated this one.
You weren't really happy. I'm sorry. I'm going to make y'all sad. Well, I'm Daniel Yanez, aka Artiest DIY, I'm the owner of the Basement Gallery. Behind me, we have a piece that I've been working on pretty hard for probably working on it for like 4 or 5 months. This piece is titled Matanza, and the definition of Matanza is pretty much like massacre. This piece, came to me when I was seeing all these images of the Syrian war and all these images of all the, children that were, dying every day, being killed, bombs dropping on them, washing up the shore dead. And I told myself, when I saw those images, the only thing I could see were my kids. I had 6 kids of my own, and each one of those kids that I saw, all I could see were my kids' faces. And I was like, this isn't what I want. This isn't what I want for the world. I need to do something. What that was, I had no idea. I stood up, at night, just stayed up and just thinking, what can I do, to make a difference? And I remember to myself when I, asked myself, and when I had that talk with God, 12 years ago when I decided to become an artist, why am I here on earth? And I felt like this was why. This was one of one of those things that God put me here to do was to talk about stuff like this. So, like as an artist, the only thing I knew how to do was to actually create an art piece that spoke about this. And so that's what I did with this piece. The idea was to create a single sculpture, which I made. I crafted a baby inside this grenade, and I was said that I was going to make a huge piece that would catch people's attention. That said each one of these pieces represents X amount of children that have died. Well, that's what I did today, is to show y'all that this is over 105 mini sculptures, and each one of them represent 4,000 kids that have passed away in the Syrian war alone. That adds up to over 450,000. That's a lot of kids. 400,000 children have died already in the Syrian war. And I was like, how can somebody so little like myself, an artist that's in Dallas, Texas, that you know, I'm nobody, you know what I'm saying? How can I make a difference? And I was like, I have to create this piece, and hopefully what it does is it you know, influences someone to hopefully, you know, go out and do something. Hopefully it influences someone to eventually change their mind about something, you know, that's, you know, in relation to this that would help. And that was like the only thing I knew how to do. And still to this day, I'm still trying to figure out how to use this piece. So like this piece right here is like it's still like a work in progress of how I'm going to use it. But I feel like the message is getting across to people. The idea that I'm trying to translate to people is getting there. And I just hope that it does make that difference, that it does touch that right person, that it can help in the right way. You know, this piece, you know, it talks about so many things. I mean, I've had people come up to me and tell me that, you know, it speaks about, you know, to them, you know, abortion, you know, rights, and also it speaks, you know, about how, you know, the United States Army is just like, you know, having us, you know, in this, we're born to be, you know, weapons, you know what I'm saying? We're born to be soldiers, and, you know, it kind of talks about all those things. Like, the whole purpose is to show you that, and to get the point across that children are suffering every day, and people like me, people like, you know, you know, stand by and watch it happen every day. And I feel like this is my way of saying that we need to do something. All my pieces here, this is one of them. This is another one. This is titled Old Block, and this is actually in collaboration with a collector of mine. And we wanted to speak about mass shootings, and what better way to represent mass shootings than to, you know, show that, you know, a target that's being shot up, you know, saying that, you know, we're the targets. And the melting is representative of humanity melting away, you know. And so, like, I'm trying to take this idea of me being an artist and using it for something that's great. I feel like art is very, you know, very strong. It's powerful, you know what I'm saying? And like, I need to take what I'm able to do as a talent and use it to, you know, do some good, you know. So all my pieces are very, very, you know, anti-war, or they're very, very, you know, political, or you know, they're protest pieces. And there's also another piece that's similar to this on the other side, which is more realistic, I guess. You know, realistic type skin, and it's bleeding, and you can see, you know, the you know, the guts, and, you know, it made it kind of gory because I wanted people to, you know, see that we're not just targets, we're actually, you know, people. You know, when you're shooting these things, it's causes pain, causes hurt. And I just wanted to express that in that way. And there's going to be a few other renditions of this piece that I'm working on. The piece behind you, with all the different wood pieces going across. This piece is titled Humanity at War Itself. And what I did was I went onto social media and I pretty much looked at all the topics that people were fighting with each other. And, you know, everybody's fighting about everything, but I took like the most popular ones, the ones that people seem to be more passionate about, or really like causing people to hate each other. And I put them into this piece, so I don't know about death, it talks about war, it talks about evil, it talks about poverty, it talks about corruption, police brutality. All these things are in here. And I just wanted to kind of say it, like you said, these are the things that are making up our humanity. These are the things that's making up our society and our way of being. There was another set of pieces that also went with this that will talk more about, politics or things like that. But I just feel like my artwork has to say something. It has to be powerful. It has to be worthy enough to change the world, and that's what I'm really concentrating on, to really, really deep and hopefully make y'all have some kind of feeling whenever y'all are looking at it. If y'all have any questions, y'all have to take them. Sorry, we didn't vote But man,
I was going to say, so actually, what you did there is, it reminds me a lot of William S. Burroughs was doing in his later years, part of his cut and paste technique, like what I used for like the Exterminators, where he would write a story and then like cut out pieces and mix it up. Was that the influence you were that?
Actually, no, this is not really. I just wanted what I really wanted to do with this piece was take a contemporary style and juxtapose it with like this craziness that that society has. I didn't take any influence from that. Yeah, that's a lot of my pieces are inspired by the Matrix. This style is working. What I would do, I mean, to be honest, what I would do was, the idea was to take other objects, but I've been doing this lettering for years already, and I would take the big objects and surround them in these words, and the idea was to take, what I saw, and how can I get other people to see what I see, what's easier to translate my ideas into, put words into it, so everything, like say it was this seat, I was surrounded and covered to where it like people just be solid, stripes of words going all around it, and people were able to see what I saw at that moment. Even though it was still kind of hidden, a lot of times people can't see the words in it, and they just think it's a cool design until I hit on the land and said something, and they're like, wow. I have a question. I'll get it. It's a heavy, it's probably what, like 40 pounds? It's just awkward to carry. It's awkward to carry. It's awkward to sit down somewhere. It's just like, how can you open it out if there's no reference on the name? Yeah, this one's about 40 pounds. That one piece over there is heavier. That one's probably about, I don't know, 75 pounds.
Is the box the original one?
Actually, no, that's another mold. The original that the gallery expressed.
Why did you choose those colors?
What I wanted to do was just go with like an array of colors to kind of represent all spectrum of who we are, things to kind of represent everybody in the
On the grenade piece, did you cast an actual grenade or like?
Yeah, well, like I cut a grenade in half, and then what I did, I sculpted the baby inside. So the baby inside of it is made of clay, and the outside grenade is an actual real grenade that I cut in half with the juice on.
Are these two pieces connected at all?
I mean, they are for me. I mean, because, they are by what I want to say to the world. You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously, when you have an idea that's coming from the same person, there is going to be a connection.
Well, I said it's ironic that this is influenced by the Matrix. The Matrix was actually influenced by the source code for the Matrix was a graphic novel called The Invisibles, who was made by Grant Morrison. But then that comic book, he also has a key grenade. Grenades are actually source code of it. That's one of the big things of it. And also, Grant Morrison is what's called a chaos magician. And one of the things that you do in chaos magic is you would take words like that, cut it up in little pieces, and you put it on the guitar. So in a very strange way, you actually, through in a weird generational way, copied exactly what it is he does to create his own artworks. It really is. It's a very, very cool artist.
I mean, I can see that also with I felt that way when I made all the babies and I was climbing on the road. It reminded me of the Matrix whenever he was talking about that baby.
Yeah, Grant Morrison successfully sued the Wachowski brothers because they brought these comics into the studio, into the studio, every time they're filming, told all the actors and the writers, this is what we're trying to do. And so a lot of his work came out of that and got popular with that. Through the book, it's called The Invisibles. Yeah, it's like I said, it's very ironic. The way he did that is one of his techniques actually, is where he did no harm.
That's awesome. But yeah, that's where I got, like, 1 to 0, I saw this, I was like, what word is this?
All right. Thank y'all for coming. If y'all just shy and don't want to ask questions out loud, feel free to hit us up individually. We'll talk to you. Thank y'all for coming out.
This is William, hopefully your favorite videographer from Two Hats Publishing. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please leave comments below, or like, follow, or subscribe to us and get notices of all our videos. We love it, even when you call.